Hey there, my name is Scott Perry, and today we're going to talk about juicing celery. The complete thing, from all the way from going to the store to purchasing the right celery to prepping it, juicers, how to juice it, how to clean the juicer from beginning to end. So I've been thinking about doing this video for a long time, and I've been juicing celery for over 10 years now. And yes, this is from Anthony Williams, the medical medium. I'm following his diet. Not just celery juice, but also the heavy metal smoothie, plus a bunch of Vimergy products you can see in the back there, supplements that he recommends. I'm not going to talk about why people should juice celery and why they should take celery juice. You know, that's up to Anthony. If you want to hear more about the whys, look up a video online of Anthony Williams with a medical medium. He's got a ton of them out there, and he's the expert. I'm not trying to create any new ground here. If I say something that is completely counter to what Anthony's already said or will say, go with him, not with me. I'm just a guy who juices celery based on what he suggests. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to take a trip to a couple of stores, first Whole Foods and then my local co-op called Fiddleheads. I live in Mystic, Connecticut. Unfortunately, for me to get to Whole Foods, I have to go all the way up to Cranston, Rhode Island, which is about almost an hour away. Fiddleheads is about 15 minutes away. It's in New London, Connecticut. So if I can get good celery there, I'll do it. But typically trying to get celery in your local grocery store is not a great idea. The celery you can get there is usually the Foxy brand. It's really not good celery. It might be great for cooking or whatever, but it's not great for juicing. So here I am at Whole Foods in Cranston, Rhode Island. We're going to go in and do some shopping for some celery. And we're going to talk about what to look for, what to avoid. Here we go. There are 4 things that you look for when you're picking out celery. 1 is color, 2, smell, 3, thickness of the stalk, and 4, how many leaves are on the head of celery. The most important thing is bitterness. The reason people don't like juicing celery is because sometimes celery can be bitter. And if you buy the wrong kind of celery, it can definitely be bitter, and it's going to taste like crap, and you're not going to want to drink it. The best way to tell if celery is going to be bitter is to smell it. If it smells bitter, it's going to taste bitter. The other thing about celery that makes celery bitter is the leaves. You always want to get rid of the leaves before you try and juice it. So if you can buy a head of celery that has the least amount of leaves as possible, that means it's a lot less prepping when you have to juice the celery. This batch today isn't looking so good. But what we think we can do is smell it. Actually, it doesn't smell so bad. And once again, if it smells bitter, it's going to taste bitter. If it doesn't smell bitter, it's probably not going to taste bitter. So when we buy celery, we buy it by the case. Normally it comes in a case of 24. The problem with buying in a case is you never know what you're going to get. And this is what we got. So lots of leaves, that's not a good thing. And the stalks are somewhat narrow, also not a good thing. On the positive side, they smell pretty good, so hopefully they'll taste pretty good. We are in the local food co-op called Fiddleheads in New London, Connecticut, and we're going to do some celery shopping here to see if it's any better than what we got at Whole Foods the other day. So it's looking better than what we saw at Whole Foods the other day. See these heads? Look at that. No leaves. Pretty wide stalks on them too, so it's looking pretty good. How do they smell? Smell alright, so these are probably going to be pretty good. As I said, sometimes you can get really good celery at the local food co-op, and you don't have to drive an hour all the way to Whole Foods. Once again, we've ordered a whole nother case of celery, this time from Fiddleheads. This case is looking pretty good, not a lot of leaves. Stalks are a little thin, but once again, they smell okay. So we'll juice them and see how they taste. I'm back. So now that we've purchased our celery, let's talk about the different types of celery and how to prep it properly. So what you can see here is 2 heads of celery. This one, obviously, lots of leaves, and the stalks are pretty thin. They're about the size of, my finger, basically. You have this one, not a lot of leaves, and stalks are pretty wide. They're actually, the size of 2 or 3 of my fingers. And that's a big thing, the difference between those types of celery types. Let's talk about leaves for a sec. We talked about bitter celery. Well, the biggest thing that causes celery to be bitter are the leaves, okay? Leaves are incredibly bitter. So what I do is I always remove all of the leaves from my celery before I even attempt to juice it, because if you don't, it's going to be really bitter. And once again, making celery less bitter is the goal. As I said, you want to get rid of all the leaves, and it's pretty simple. There's 2 ways to do it. You can either cut them off with a knife, or you can just pull them off with your fingers. First thing you want to do, though, is always, if you notice the tops of celery when you get it from the store, it's all dried out, just cut the first 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch off the top of your celery. Do that first, and then second, flip it around, cut the heel off, get rid of that. And best thing to do is have a container down here for compost. Celery excess makes great composting. So once you've done that, you pull it apart, look for the leaves, and let's say you can either just yank them off, throw them in the compost, or you can cut them off with your knife if you want. I tend to just yank them off. Once you've got your celery cut and the leaves removed, the next thing to do is to wash it. There's a debate in my household between my wife and I. I tend to just want to rinse off the dirt. She actually, I think she heard Anthony at one point say that to use soap to really make sure that you're getting all of whatever there might be on the celery off. I tend to just rinse it. So basically I take my celery stalks and I just run them under the water, just to basically remove, the most important thing, remove the bugs, because they will have bugs on them occasionally, and of course get rid of the dirt. Let's talk about juicers. So we have 3 different juicers. We have this Omega that I use. We have another Omega, which is a side angle juicer. And then we have one of those fast spinning juicers that we got many, many years ago. These are called masticating juicers. They operate at like 46 rounds per minute or something. I don't know why that number, but that's what it is. The fast spinning ones go for a couple hundred rounds a minute. And the reason that we don't like using the fast spinning one is because when they run so fast, they actually heat up the juice. When they're ripping apart the celery to get the juice out, they actually heat it up, and that can remove some of the nutrients from the heat. So we use these masticating juicers, which do not heat up the celery. And basically, instead of ripping the celery apart, it crushes it. It's called masticating juicer because it's like your molars in the back of your teeth. You masticate your food by crushing it, and that's what these juicers do. So basically, it's real simple. Turn the machine on. Start feeding it in. We got a lot of celery to feed in here, so I'm not going to make you suffer through the whole thing. I'll come back when it's done. Just a quick note on why I like this one versus the side angle one. I know Anthony's recommended an Omega juicer that has the things come out the side. And it does, the side angles do actually get more juice out of celery. I don't find it to be that much more juice, maybe a couple of tablespoons. But the reason I like this vertical one is because it's faster and I'm impatient. It's got a bigger chute. It's got a bigger auger that actually mashes up the masticating tool inside, so it actually can accommodate more celery more quickly than the side angle, which has got a much more narrower chute, a much more narrow diameter auger, and therefore you can't do it as quickly. So for me, getting the extra tablespoon or 2 of celery juice is not as important as doing it quickly, because I'm usually in a hurry in the morning. So the last thing we're going to talk about is cleaning the juicer. And I always clean the juicer immediately after I make the juice. Before I even drink the juice, I'm going to clean the juicer. And the reason is because if you leave the celery residue on the juicer, especially the wire mesh, and it hardens, it's almost impossible to get off. So much easier just to do it when everything's wet and fresh. And it takes, 2 minutes to clean the juicer. So I do that, as I said, right before I drink the juice. The other question is how much juice you get. This was 2 small heads. It's about 22 ounces of liquid. So I find each head I can get anywhere from a minimum of 8 ounces and as much as 16 ounces. I've gotten 32 ounces out of 2 heads before. So figure somewhere in that range. You know, I've seen videos online of other healthcare professionals complaining about celery juicing, that you lose all the fiber when you juice the celery. So here's what I have to say about that. If celery juice is the only thing you're eating all day long, then yeah, you don't want to lose that fiber. But obviously anybody who's juicing celery, it's probably not the only thing they're eating all day long. So if you're having a normal salad or whatever for lunch and dinner, you're probably getting lots of fiber, or just make sure you get fiber in other ways through eating other foods. You don't need to get the fiber in your celery if you're getting enough fiber in your diet throughout the day. Anthony definitely says, strain it, get all the fiber out, so you get pure juice goodness. So now that we've bought it, prepped it, juiced it, now it's time to drink it. Look at that, 2 heads of celery made 32 ounces of pure goodness. Thank you.